Hi, I'm Greg Stein. I'm the president and CEO of Curtana Pharmaceuticals. We're developing a drug called CT-179 for the treatment of a rare pediatric form of brain cancer called pediatric medulloblastoma, as well as other brain cancers. And our drug is a first-in-class OLIG-2 inhibitor for these therapy-resistant cancers. I figured it out. So the problem, recurrent pediatric medulloblastoma, ultra-orphan indication, only about 700 or so cases in the US, Europe, and Japan combined. Kids with medulloblastoma typically undergo surgery, radiation, chemo. 70% or so of these kids do okay, but in the kids that recur, the 5-year survival rate is less than 15%. And this is because of OLIG-2 expressing cancer stem cells that drive the relapse and are resistant to chemo and radiation. We just had 2 papers this month, back-to-back papers in Nature Communications that came out laying out the science behind this and how CT-179 is going to change how this disease is treated. CT-179 is an orally bioavailable, highly selective, importantly, brain penetrant OLIG-2 inhibitor that eliminates these therapy-resistant cancer stem cells. And it does this by, OLIG-2 is a transcription factor that dimerizes on the DNA. It interrupts that dimerization, causes the cell to go into cell cycle arrest, and then eventually apoptosis. Importantly, our drug works well with other therapies, including radiation, and we're looking at other drug combinations. Because it is so selective for OLIG-2, which is just in the tumor and in the developing brain of kids, it's very well tolerated in our preclinical studies. And here's just one of the preclinical studies in mice showing that the combination, particularly with radiation, is very successful in extending survival. OLIG-2 is also found in other rare diseases, including DIPG, GBM in adults, and other low-grade gliomas. We've had great success with our academic collaborators. I won't go through all the names here, but we've got collaborators in Canada, Australia, Europe, and here in the States, and we feel very fortunate to be working with some of the top brain cancer researchers around the world. Here's our plan to move CT-179 forward. The red bar there is our pediatric trial, and we're partnering with the PBTC. We're going to partner with the Pediatric Neuro-Oncology Consortium for DIPG, and we're working with the Australian Brain Cancer Research Association, our alliance, for our adult GBM study. So next steps are to advance our CT-179 into clinical trials, and with that, I will wrap it up and take your questions. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Always proud to see MDs helping lead the charge in these things. So awesome to see that. I had a question, when you mentioned 725 cases, 30% recur, what is the business model like? Because it seems like the population might not be as big. And also, how is it different when you're dealing with a mostly, I'm assuming, actually pediatric population, less than like below 17?
So, more than 2 minutes of questions there, but so the ultra-orphan indication in and of itself is probably not a commercial opportunity. It's really GBM is the $1 to $2 billion opportunity. But because of the ultra-orphan nature of the indication, we can do a much smaller trial, much more quickly. We can potentially do an open label study in these kids, so we can get to market much more quickly. And so that's sort of the opportunity there, is to, in a much more capital efficient and time efficient way, get to the clinic and then just do label extension in the bigger indications. And if the two, Steve had the slide up there about those 2 pieces of legislation that are still bipartisan and going forward. If those pass, in there is a renewal of the priority review voucher system, and this would be eligible for that. Yep. There we go. Thank you.